friends, welcome to the Angsty Baker, which is literally just me baking every day like I do. I am by no means a professional in any sense of the word, but as an everyday baker, I like to bake every day with everyday things, and you're gonna see me fail, and that's okay. I have my lovely assistant here, Kylie. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Kylie. Some call me Kylie, and I am here to help out my sister in any way, shape, or form.
Mostly, I don't like baking alone, and Kylie's a really good taste tester. I don't like sharing a kitchen, so this is going to be interesting. We also have Toni the Bones. His real name is Toni Bony Macaroni, and he's my mascot and my spirit animal. So today we're making something called the Busy Bee Funfetti cake, which is basically a birthday cake for Kylie's best friend in the whole world, who she calls the honeybee from
Well, shout out to Melissa. It's her birthday today.
I don't know if she wants her name.
Well, shout out to any Melissa in the world out there whose birthday happens to be today.
Happy birthday, Melissa.
And the name Melissa means the honeybee, so hence Busy Bee Funfetti.
So we're going to be making a funfetti cake from scratch because I didn't want to use a box. And then we're also going to be topping it, filling it, and anywhere we can possibly incorporate it, strawberry buttercream, strawberries in the middle, strawberries on the top. We're going to have our sprinkles for the actual funfetti, and then we'll have sprinkles to decorate as well. I feel like a beauty guru, like, oh,
Who is she?
who is she? Oh,
Sparkles make sparkles in.
Okay, this is going to be a long intro, so let's go ahead and get started. So I've actually never made a funfetti cake from scratch. I've done boxes, but I wanted to give this an opportunity to, expand my cake horizons. So we're gonna start with our dry ingredients. I'm using a recipe that I found online from Sally's Baking Addiction. And the reason I wanted to try hers is because when it comes to the wet ingredients, it's gonna be yogurt and milk, and it's just some things I don't usually use. But we'll start with dry. So this one, I have 1 cup and 2/3 of flour. And I pre-measured it because I'm such a messy baker. Kylie can attest that this was more so for everyone's sanity, especially my friends with OCD. That's not even the right measuring spoon. See, that's why we're here. We're here to learn. We're here to be like, it's okay. I'm gonna do 1/2 teaspoon both of baking powder and baking soda. And then I'm using a 1/4, so that's why it looks kind of wonky. And then it's actually just gonna be a 1/4 of baking soda. I lied. There we go. I'll actually post the recipe. And then it's supposed to be, it says a pinch of salt. I have small fingers, so I kind of do, I pour probably a 1/4 size amount, and then I do a pretty hefty pinch, and the rest I just throw in the sink because I'll spill it on the floor. And then this one, I'm doing my own addition. I like to add pudding mix to my dry ingredient side because I think it adds moisture, and I don't want to add it while it's already a pudding. And then to allot for this, because this wasn't in Sally's recipe, I don't know if her name's Sally, but shout out to her, we are going to have to add more liquid just to make sure the consistency is the same. We're going to go ahead and just give it a good whisk here. Obviously with dry ingredients, it's hard to tell when it's all mixed together, but just a little bit. I like to turn my bowl 45 degrees and do a small circular motion with my whisk, and then kind of putz around a little bit. Really not too bad. And then once it's all good, we can move on to our wet ingredients. So I went ahead and melted my butter off screen. I didn't want to melt it on screen because it's kind of a waste of time, and melted butter looks gross anyway. So what we're going to do is sometimes they'll tell you to mix one thing together. Who has time for that? We're just going to dump it all in and give her a go. So we have regular granulated sugar, which is just everyday pantry sugar. We have brown sugar. We also have milk. I prefer almond milk because I don't do a lot of dairy.
As we just ate pizza.
Well, in small amounts, my friend. But obviously it's your preference. It's not going to make a difference. We're doing a whole big old tablespoon of vanilla. There'll be vanilla in extra places. We also have yogurt here, vanilla flavored as well, though it doesn't matter if it's plain, Greek, whipped, doesn't matter. And then we're gonna do 1 egg. You want the whole egg. We're not gonna be doing egg whites or anything like that, just a whole regular egg. All right, so we got our wet ingredients, we got our dry ingredients, gotta get that together. And so what I'm gonna do is sometimes you'll see in recipes, they'll say, add the wet to the dry. It doesn't really matter if you were doing a bread or a muffin or something where you have a limited number of strokes that you can do with your spatula, then it's gonna make a little bit more of a difference. But let's be real, in a box mix, you just add the wet to the dry. Here, I'm gonna add the dry to the wet. It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna do is I like to mix mine. It might say until incorporated. I beat mine on a high speed for like a good 4 minutes and like a really fluffy cake. So while you get to see that, please enjoy my friend Connor's great music that he has on SoundCloud. I will link it below. Because I added that package of pudding mix, you can see that even though I added the right amount of liquids, it's pretty thick for a cake batter. So what I'm gonna do to account for the extra volume I added for dry ingredients, I'm gonna add just a little bit of more milk and I'm gonna mix it until it gets to the consistency I want. And I'll show you what that looks like once it's all done. But this one, you just have to do by eye and what feels right. I wish I could give you a measurement, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't measure a lot in my kitchen, so sorry. So that's the consistency I'm looking for. It's a little more liquidy, it's gonna be easier to split. I'm doing 2 pans because I'm doing a layered cake. I'm just using one recipe though. I'm not gonna double anything just because I like to keep it easy. And I think there's only 2 to 4 of us that are actually gonna be eating this, so nice and easy. All right, we're gonna add some sprinkles. I'm gonna be honest, personally, I don't really like sprinkles, especially the hard candy-like ones. They hurt my teeth. I don't think they add a lot of flavor. But if you wanna make a funfetti cake, you need some classic cake-like sprinkles. These are just sugar, cornstarch, I think there's some corn syrup, just basically everything we're not supposed to be eating, and then lots of food dye. I've always wanted to try making my own, so if you wanna see me fail at that, we can do it together. But what I'm gonna do is I didn't wanna use the beater because that's gonna break up the sprinkles too much. So I'm just gonna fold them in. So about here, 3/4 of a cup of sprinkles, all the magic and the unicorn dust you could ask for. And when you fold, you wanna cut right down the center, scoop up from the bottom and back to the top. You can also go around the sides, but usually through the center is gonna be your best bet. I like to do around the sides just to make sure I have everything that's gonna be incorporated. Right, so now we're ready to split our batter into 2 pans. So what I did is I already sprayed the bottom. These are 9-inch rounds. And then to show you, I got a 10-inch cake plate that we're gonna put it on. So I have an extra inch to decorate with. This I find is just a really good size for all kinds of cakes. But what I did is I sprayed the bottom, and I like to use parchment paper as well. It's just gonna make it come off easier. So what I did is I don't measure anything. I just get a sheet of parchment paper and I make it so it's kind of like, I fold it into a square and then I fold it into a triangle and then I do another little triangle. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're not gonna be using it for show or anything like that. Then I just eyeball it from about the middle to where I want it to be. And I'll crease it there. And then I cut it in a little bit of a, kind of like a half moon shape. Then you open it up. It's gonna look like a church coffee filter, those really big ones. And you just lay her down at the bottom and she'll stick right to the bottom. And then for the sides, because I want it to come off as easily as possible, I don't want to spray on top of this. So I sprayed a paper towel and I'm gonna go ahead and just rub it along the sides. I used cooking spray, but you could use butter and flour, whatever you prefer. I'm not gonna measure it. I'm just gonna pour until they seem about even, and then they're ready to go in the oven, which is preheated to 350. Once that's done, in order to make sure they bake evenly, and I want as minimal of a hump, cupcake top, muffin top, I don't know what it's called.
Cake top.
Cake top, thank you. I want as minimal of that as possible. We're gonna slam her right on the counter.
Sorry, neighbors.
That'll be fine. So now these bad boys are gonna go in for 33 minutes. From there, I'm gonna check about halfway through, see how they're browning. And if they're getting too dark for my liking, then I will put aluminum foil on top, but we'll check in after. All right, so now what we're gonna do is while our cake is cooking, I set a timer for about 20 minutes so I can check in on it. I'm gonna start on my strawberries. So I'm gonna put strawberries in 3 places. In the buttercream itself, we're gonna make a strawberry buttercream from scratch. We're gonna do in between the 2 layers, a layer of buttercream and a layer of strawberries, and then also on the top for decoration. So what I'm gonna do is I have my big bowl of strawberries, and I'm picking apart to see which ones I want for the top. So hate to say it, but the prettiest. And then the ones that I feel aren't up to my cake topper satisfaction, or they're just really big like this, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna chop them up, and I'm gonna fill 1.5 cups to make a strawberry puree that we're gonna incorporate in our buttercream. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna dice them up. We're gonna cook them over, and what's gonna happen is they're gonna reduce. We're gonna get about 6 tablespoons of puree out of 1.5 cups of strawberries. So go ahead and do that until you got your amount. I picked 7 that I want for the top. What I'm thinking for the top right now is I have these gold and silver candles, and I think I'm gonna do, if you guys ever played Cooking Mama 2, they had a vanilla cake that had like a dollop of cream and then on top was a strawberry, and you could like decorate your own cake, and this is how I did it. So dollop of cream, strawberry on top, and then candle in between each one. And that's what we're gonna do, Cooking Mama 2, dinner with friends. So for that, the toppers, I'm just gonna cut off the top and leave them whole. These have all been washed and dried already. That was a memory I didn't realize I actually still had until I started.
Cooking Mama too.
Dinner with friends. All right, so those are my toppers. Move my garbage. And then I'm just gonna set those aside for now. Now for the middle ones, I'm gonna slice them. These ones aren't too mushy, they're not as pretty, they're slightly bigger. So what I'm gonna do is just slice them in half like that, and then not cut myself. Just kind of as flat as possible, so when I layer the cakes, they won't be too bad, and then you eat the rest. Disclaimer, all strawberries are beautiful and tasty no matter the size, but let's be real, it's an aesthetics thing. All right, I like to do my buttercream while the cake is baking, because for me, usually the kitchen gets nice and hot. It's gonna keep your buttercream a little more melty when you're done, so I like to chill mine before I even use it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use these chopped strawberries. I'm gonna put them in just a small blender, make a little puree, so it's gonna be just liquid strawberry basically. Then I'm gonna cook that for about 10-15 minutes until it's syrupy and thicker, so it's more of just like a jelly-like flavoring. It's just gonna be strawberries, no extra ingredients here. And I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Hey, guess what? I lied. So I added a little bit of water because we were having quite the trouble getting it to go down. If you had a food processor, this would work a lot better, but we're not professionals. I'm a broke college kid. I do what I can. But yeah, so now we have a liquid strawberry. I'm gonna heat that for 10-15 minutes.
If you like this cool video, check out the one in the fridge.
All right, so while I'm cooking my strawberry puree for about 10 minutes, I'm gonna start on my simple syrup. So for that, it's literally a 1-to-1 ratio of sugar and water until all the sugar dissolves. And we're gonna use that to soak our cakes once they're done cooking and they've cooled a little bit. That's gonna help keep it moist and lock in any moisture. If you guys watch How to Cake It, she talks about it all the time. I tried it. She knows what she's doing. The girl's a genius. Like, it does a really good job. So, just gonna sit here. I'm gonna cook some sugar. Kylie's gonna make puns in the background, and it's gonna be great.
Double.
Oil and trouble. That was freaky.
Well, I've had a lot of practice. Oh, you said freaky? I thought you said good.
All right, our cakes are done. I'm gonna grab the other one here. Our puree is still going. I did 10 minutes. She's still a little thick, but not as thick as I'd like her to be. So our strawberry puree has reduced by about half. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let it cool. I'm gonna put it in this jar, put it in the fridge, and then our simple syrup water here, which is just sugar and water, we're gonna let that cool as well. And then once those are cool, start working on our buttercream while our cakes are cooling in the background. And if I say cool one more time, it might just be freezing. So let's see if I don't spill this. Wow.
That's cool.
Oh, she's frothy. Oh, it smells. So
Smells like you're stuck in the strawberry fields. I don't know why you'd be stuck. It just smells like strawberries.
You're stuck there.
You're stuck in the strawberry fields and all you smell is strawberries.
Okay, so we have our strawberry puree all cooled down in the fridge. It was about 20 minutes to get there. Kylie got a good nap in. I honestly just was on Instagram, and that's okay. I have half a cup of room temperature butter. Gonna be honest, it wasn't room temperature. I put it on the stove top while it was still warm, just to, you know, get it so it softened it, because I pulled it directly from the fridge. Might have let it sit on there too long. It might have seeped up from the package. This might not exactly be half a cup. We're gonna figure it out. I'm gonna add 4 teaspoons of heavy whipping cream to this. Also 4 cups of powdered sugar, 1/2 of a teaspoon of vanilla. Might need to grab a little more. And then some pink coloring just to help with that. So I will get it all blended together here. The recipe I'm using is not my own. It's from Life, Love, and Sugar, I believe is what they're called, but I'll put their recipe below as well, because your girl doesn't have her own. Once it's all done, it's gonna look something like this. We've already been snacking on it, but we gotta stop because we need it for the cake. What I'm gonna do, because I want kind of a softer consistency, personally, I'm not a huge buttercream fan because I don't like thick frostings. I'm more of a whipped frosting kind of gal. So for the middle part, I'm going to mix, I have about half a container of whipped cream left over from a different project I was doing. And I'm just gonna mix in some buttercream for flavor, and that's gonna be what my strawberries sit on. And then the rest I'll have to cover the entire outside, and I'll make sure I have enough that way. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. How we're gonna get them out is I cut around the edges just with a butter knife. We're gonna use just a dining plate since it's a smaller cake. Line it up, and you will hear it. Just like that. You can see the grease from where we line the bottom. You have this really, really nice Funfetti cake. So since these are so flat, I'm not even gonna bother cutting them. They did a nice job settling how they were, so we didn't have any cake tops that we have to cut off.
Dang it.
Okay, so I put a dab of buttercream in the center of my cake board that I'm gonna serve it on. And then I'm gonna go ahead and pull this off. And what we're gonna do, since I have it on the board I'm gonna serve it on, is when I add my frosting, I don't want it to get messy. So I have strips of parchment paper, or you could use wax paper, whatever you want. And we're just gonna go ahead and do it on the perimeters like so. And then I will fold these down, cut them up, but just go along the whole outside to help with the cleanliness. All right, so now I have my chilled simple syrup. You don't want it to be boiling hot because your cake is already cool, and if you put frosting on directly after, it's gonna heat up the frosting. So I just use just a spoon and I just like run it all around. And it's just to help keep any moisture. We already added a lot with our pudding mix and using milk instead of like water and yogurt, but still, I hate dry cake. It is one of my biggest pet peeves, or dry cookies. It's just, you know, it's not my thing. Make sure to do both sides. And if it's not like completely soaked, you don't want it dripping, of course, but we are gonna let this sit, I would say a good 10 minutes, just in order to let it really penetrate through the layers of the cake. Now glob that bad boy on there.
It'll be a nice surprise when you enter the cake.
Enter the cake. Many have entered, few have returned. Also, it would be a nice little cross section, you know? So I'm not gonna go absolutely all the way to the edges. This cake is kind of dense, but it's not gonna push it out too much. But if you do go all the way to the edges and you add weight, it could squirt out the sides. And since it's a different frosting, technically, than what we're doing on the outside, it wouldn't connect as easily. So we will eat the rest of that. Now we're just gonna line strawberries. I'm gonna push them in a little bit, but I don't have to push them in too much. You can see like when every time you push down, the cream moves a little bit. I'm gonna try to keep them as level as possible. So some I'll push down a little more. We're gonna coat the sides. I am not gonna crumb coat it and chill it and then refrost it. It's, you know, she's hardy. It's gonna be a very homemade cake, not a professional. I don't work at a bakery. I'm a full-time student. Your girl's got bills. And yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead. And it's okay to be messy because we put that parchment paper on the outside. We're on our final touches. Also, now that you're towards the end of my video, every time I say, all right, you have to take a shot, either of ice cream, simple syrup, I don't know, a shot of something, because I say it way too much. So I like to put my piping bags in a glass to help it stand up while I fill it with buttercream. I'm just gonna push it down all the way to the bottom. And kind of let it jangle. It's not fun to refill after it's been used, so I would recommend putting as much as you can in at once. And then, so it doesn't sneak out the back, hold the top and just use your fingers to help spread it down. Last time when I was doing a Swiss meringue for cupcakes, I totally forgot to do this myself and it went all over Kylie's floor. True story. All right, and then it's kind of greasy too. All right, then I can close off the top, twist it a little bit to help push it down to the bottom. You can see it filling with air. And we're ready to go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do 7 strawberries on top, or whatever I feel like a spacing is good. So we're just gonna do, you wanna push at the back end, because if you push just from the front, from the very tip here, it's gonna come out the end anyway. So keep it firm, equal pressure. And I'm just gonna do like that much. I'm gonna do that all around the cake. I touched my mouth on it, but we're done, so that's okay. It's a birthday cake. We gotta get some birthday candles on there. So these are gold. I'm gonna save the silver ones. Not sure for what, but a special occasions. We wanna match that gold on the side. Final touch, I'm gonna Salt Bae these glittery sprinkles just on top to help keep it all together. No rhyme or reason, just a little bit. And then I'm gonna wipe off my cake board. Stick her back in the fridge, and Melissa, these will be coming to you tonight. Happy birthday!
Woohoo!
To all the Melissas with a birthday. All right, well, that's it. Special thanks to Kylie for recording everything and taking time out of her second nap scheduled for the day to do this. Special thanks to Toni the Bones, Toni Boney Macaroni. He's my boy. He glows in the dark at night, and if you want one too, pretty sure he's from the dollar store. Shout out to my roommate Hannah who got him for me. Super cute. It's a birthday gift. Gonna clean up my kitchen. I'm gonna plan for what I want to bake next. Let me know if you want something. I'll make anything. I'll deliver. You're close. And yeah, thanks for coming, and I'll see you later, friends.